Alright everybody, this is going to be one of those... Of course a freaking motorcycle drives by when I start. Damn you, civilization. Alright, so this is going to be one of those, the kids are asleep, the wife's running errands, let's see if I can squeeze in a YouTube video type of things. So, in this video I'm going to show you the prints and sketches that I got at Boston Comic Con. Going to Comic Cons, prints and sketches are pretty much my #1 priority. I know a lot of you guys are out there trying to fill your holes and complete your runs, but I'm not like you. I'm better. So artwork is what really got me back into this hobby. So whenever I get a chance to appreciate someone's talent like this at a Comic-Con, especially some of the lesser known guys, I always take advantage of that. Plus you can get some really great deals. So without further ado, let's get going. So here's some of the smaller prints that I got. I was attracted to this guy because I really liked what he did, where he took recognizable characters, removed some of their features, but still proved that they can be iconic. Because honestly, these guys are kind of like, you know, they're brands, so they're recognizable. So I got, these are all video game characters. This is obviously Sonic the Hedgehog. Here's Kirby, and then right above him is Mega Man. So I got those three from him, and like I said, they're really simple, but I really like how they were put together, and I like that, I don't think it shows up on camera, but the background is actually textured so that it looks like these were made on crumpled pieces of paper. So overall I thought these were really cool. He had a ton more too, and plus the guys that I bought it from were big fans of my name.
That is a fantastic name.
Thank you. So I always insist on personalizing. Alright, so then here is the one sketch that I got at Comic-Con. It's a bone figure by Jeff Smith. The only reason I got it was because Jeff Smith is an incredibly nice person and bent over backwards for his fans when he was signing books. And he pretty much did free sketches for everybody. He did whatever you wanted. I mean, literally there was this one kid in front of us in line who brought every single issue of Bone, and Jeff had his assistant lay them out and he signed them all. So like in addition to that, he was doing sketches and anything you asked for and what you didn't, and taking pictures. It was just ridiculous. So he was literally the only artist that I waited in line for over an hour, and that's just because of how generous he was with his time. So I can't thank him enough. He was definitely the highlight of Boston Comic Con this year. Really cool. And again, like, I go after prints, but I would love to be able to get original artwork and sketches, you know, things that are one of a kind, but I just don't have the budget for it. So the fact that I have this in my collection now is all due and thanks to his generosity. So moving on, we'll move to some of the bigger prints. Let me zoom out a little bit for you. And excuse me if this table's dirty. It's kind of like our table in the kitchen where we feed the kids, and you know, they tend to make a mess. So anyways, I got this guy. I really like the Galactus and Silver Surfer imagery here. That is really awesome, and you know, them just hanging out in the cosmos. So I was really impressed with this print, and I went to go buy it, and it was for 15 bucks, and I only had a 20. Let me get some dog hair off of Galactus's face. I only had a 20, so, and the guy didn't have change. So I hung out for a few minutes to see if he could try to get someone to break a 10 for him, but that moment wasn't coming. So he was trying to get me to, he was trying to upsell me, like, hey, would you do like 2 for 30 or blah blah blah, and I was like, no, I only really have a 20. So what I did though is I took this opportunity to haggle. Would you do 2 for 20?
Which one?
I'll take these guys. Thank you. Bet you didn't know you could haggle prints. It's not just comic books. So I ended up getting these for $10 a piece, which I think is a steal. So in addition to Galactus, I also got this. Now I'm a bigger fan of how Batman looks here with the bat symbol in the background. I kind of think some of the females look a little off. Not to be too judgmental, because I can't draw for shit. But just something about Harley's face looks a little off. Catwoman looks on point. But yeah, normally I wouldn't buy this print, but since I pretty much got it for $10, I said, why the hell not? Now this is a Black Axe print that I got from David Peterson. The print itself isn't that phenomenal. It's not something that I would normally buy, but this is more just a way for me to show my appreciation for his work, since I didn't own any of it and couldn't get any of the mouse guard, text signed. So I got this just to show my appreciation. But he was, I mean, our conversations weren't too fulfilling, but he was a nice guy and accommodating. So that was cool to get from him. This one I got from Neil Adams. Obviously, it's just a print of one of his most famous covers, Green Lantern 85, where Speedy deals with drugs. So I thought this was a really cool print. But Neil Adams is definitely losing his luster. I mean, when I first met him, and like the fact that he was so easy to get to was just like mind-boggling for me. It's just like, oh, here's a Silver Age icon. I love so much of his work and blah blah blah. But like every time you go to meet him now, it's like a sales pitch, and it's really off-putting. And it's one of those things where, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say like he's a hero, but it's one of those things where like the man does not meet up to the legend in my mind, unfortunately. And again, it's too bad because his artwork is awesome, his portfolio is legendary, but when I talk to you, I don't want to hear a sales pitch. Like, you don't have to be such a used car salesman all the time. Just let your work stand for itself, and obviously your fans appreciate you to make your career lucrative. So no need to keep pushing it on us. And again, I would have loved to gotten some kind of sketch or something for him, but the minimum he does is like $150, and it's literally to like draw a little Batman head on your comic. It's like, who wants that? So anyways, the next round of prints I got from I'm going to call them local artists, but they might not be local, but they're not mainstream, so how about that? So this one I got because I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan. This is obviously Ron from Parks and Rec, who's also the voice of Axe Cop in the animated series, for those of you that weren't aware. And Ron's a big breakfast fan, so I like that they made him a Lego character holding a piece of bacon and a fried egg there. So I just thought that was pretty neat. And actually, this whole round of prints that I got from this guy pretty much deals with nostalgia and pop culture. So this is a little like almost like carnival sideshow type of poster for the amazing Artie, the strongest man in the world. And if you guys aren't familiar, Artie was a character in the Adventures of Pete and Pete, a show that used to be on Nickelodeon that I really liked. So I thought that was cool. And then finally, of course, I love Ghostbusters. So we got this interesting take on the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Looks like he's had a rough night. Definitely not a morning person there. And then moving on. This was a really awesome print right here. I shouldn't say the print was awesome. Hold on, let's mess with the focus. So the camera's not going to do this justice, but the original artwork that this guy did, he's more of like your classical artist. Like this is he has like a fine arts background. So this is a combination of paint, and I don't know if you could see the texture on this, but it's layered like paint, so it's not like refined. Like modern art, even though I appreciate it, and anybody that can work with Photoshop and Illustrator can be an artist nowadays, it's almost too clean. So it's kind of refreshing to see the classical definition of artists taking on some of our characters from comic books. So this is just a really awesome. You can see the crackling of the actual paint that he used, and then he also used like a collage. Like you can see these Spider-Mans were kind of taken from comic books, so he kind of built like a montage of Spider-Mans and word bubbles from actual comics, like to border the image, and then he built his figure with paint within. And I spent like 15 minutes talking to the guy about his whole process. And normally this is a print that is above my ideal range for it. I mean, I think it was on sale for, or he wanted $30, but he had a Sunday special for 25. And usually, like, I don't do $25 prints. But I think this is just a case where I appreciated that artists like him still exist, and that the effort and time he took to making the original. I mean, I have footage of the original. Like, it's just, I wish I could bring that home with me, but obviously I can't, because it's just so much more money. But it's just one of those things where I just want to show the guy that I appreciated his work, and it really is an awesome piece. So I have it in print form. Maybe one day I can be a baller and take home the actual thing. So then moving on, I actually got this Voltron piece right here from my Transformers guy, and he's always a highlight of the cons for me. His name's Dan Canna. Check him out. He has such an awesome G1 style with Transformers, and his prints are so affordable. Like, prints like these, he'll do like 4 for 20 bucks, and then bigger prints are like 15, and then like his max is like 20, and it's like the $20 ones are totally worth it. Like, you can just get so much awesome artwork, and it's an art style that it's the characters how you remember them. And for you newer Transformers fans, yeah, he still does like Beast Wars and the Michael Bay style. Like, he's not strictly G1, but he has plenty for you G1 guys out there. So anyways, I don't have it all in this book. You'll see him in the video, but I ended up buying like 5 prints, and I think the total price was like 60 bucks. But I was having a hard time deciding. But he's like, since you're a repeat customer here, have the Voltron for free. And I was like, dude, that's so awesome. Unfortunately, though, when I got home, I realized that I took advantage of him accidentally, and I'll show you how when we come to it. So there's Voltron right there, and actually you don't have to wait long. So this was a cool Soundwave print that I really liked, and it shows Soundwave with all his minions. And originally, when I was looking in this book, I noticed that some of these prints he had in larger formats. So I put these away, or I thought I did. But when I went home, I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I paid for this print. So I'm pretty sure I stole this. So I think I'm going to do the right thing, and when I meet up with him again in New York, I'm going to let him know, and then I'll make up for it. But dude, I'm sure he'll be like, hey, like, don't even worry about it, just because he's that good of a guy. So I can't say it enough. Dan Canna, go to him. He does great work. So closing up that, and now I'm going to go to my big prints of the evening. Big in terms of size, although I think technically the Galactus are the biggest ones that I got. These are some older ones. Let me actually start backwards. We'll stay with our Transformers theme here. So these are all Dan Canna. Just an awesome group shot of most of the Decepticons here. So I spent a lot of my money on the Transformers prints that dealt with the group shots, just because it's just cool to have all of them in one photo. So that was a cool one there. And then here are the Dinobots. Very cool on the original, like, toy style background there with the grids. And then moving on. This is a really cool piece of, like, almost all of the Autobots, if not all of them, from G1. I just think it's funny because, like, you look at this and you're like, okay, this is definitely a $20 print. I mean, look how many figures he has in there. But this is like a $15 print. It's just unbelievable. And then, man, look how awesome Omega Supreme looks. He's definitely one of my favorites. So anyways, and then I also got this guy. Now this guy was a $20 print, which again, I think is a steal with the amount of work he put into it. This was a special, I think, commissioned piece where he did a lot of basically all the combiners fighting themselves. And I've always been a huge fan of the big boys, the combiners. I just thought that was such an awesome concept show. So just to see them all fighting each other is fantastic. And it's funny though, because like you look at this and you're like, yeah, I could see that being a $20 print, but then the one below it has so much more characters and detail. You're like, how is that not a $20 print? But anyways, great piece, and I think this is limited actually. I think I have 126 out of 250, so definitely happy to be one of the 250 there. And then I think the last print that I have, if I don't screw up my books, is this guy. We're about to get a little sexual, guys, so I hope you're okay with that. Oh yeah. What's going on here? So, not gonna lie, I felt like a total creep buying this. You know, I'm not the type to buy those like overly sexualized covers, although there was one print that I left there that I kind of wanted to get that had a Mary Jane on like the cover of Maxim. So, you know what? Maybe I am a creep. I don't know. So anyways, but it was just something about this print, just like, I don't know, I guess you don't really see the sexual side of Harley and Joker's relationship. So, I mean, but this thing has it all. Like, I think it's just a really good piece of art, and I mean, it's something about it's one of those things where it's like the soft core of prints. It's like it shows just enough to let your mind take over. So like this little like hand on the zipper type of thing, it's just things are gonna get dirty. So anyways, I don't think I did a really good job of not labeling myself as a creep just then, but I had to have this print, and it was literally the last thing I bought, and of course I didn't have enough money to pay asking price, so I used my keen negotiating skills to get it. Is the Joker Harley that big?
No, it's just
Okay.
when the show is over, I sometimes sell the posters. I've
Yeah.
got like 2 people kind of interested in it for like $45.
I mean, no, I'm interested in it in a regular size. I'm literally down to 13. Would you take that for it? You can look at my wallet. I'm not trying to like haggle here.
Yeah, we do that.
Awesome.
It's the last day. And
I figure it's winding down, yeah. So, yeah, I'll definitely take it.
Alright, so it's Joker and Harley, right?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
So not only did I get it for less than asking price, but she also gave me her phone number. What a sweetheart. So guys, that's going to do it for the end of this video. I was very happy with what I came away with. There was a moment afterwards where I felt like the teensiest bit empty, because I was like, alright, this year I gave myself a bigger budget, but was it one of those things where because of the bigger budget I was able to get more of the things I loved, or it's one of those things where it's like I spent to my budget because that's how much money I had available to me? But after making this video, I'm very happy with what I came home with, and there's plenty that I left behind that I know for certain that I'm going to be able to spend even more money in New York. Not that I was going to have any trouble anyways. So in my next video, I'm going to show you the books and signatures that I got, and obviously that's going to be a much shorter video because you guys know that I don't buy comic books. Let's get serious. And while you're waiting, check out some of my previous Boston Comic Con videos, and even further down the pipeline, I have material for an unboxing, which I keep teasing, and some Craigslist fun. So that's what I got coming up. Thanks for watching, guys.
We'll be right back.